guys, welcome back to the Blizzard ANZ StarCraft 2 Pro League, brought to you by ANPZL. With me is Death, and we just closed out the first map for the night on Neon Violet Square with Ice vs Demi. Demi taking the win there. What do we have up next, Death?
We've got Luneth, who is a Protoss player from team #Protoss #Downfall Gaming, and he's going to be going up against Vivid, who we did see come out last week as well for team OSC Elite. I'd say both of these guys are up-and-coming players, which makes this really cool because it's not like, oh, this is going to be like Luneth versus Mighty Kiwi or like Probe or someone like that that's just like an absolute behemoth. It's two players that I think are going to be pretty evenly poised or evenly matched in terms of skill. And that's pretty cool, especially in a team league when we can get situations like this where it makes such a huge difference on the overall outcome.
Yeah, for sure. I think this may be the first time I've ever had the pleasure to cast Luneth as well. So I think he's very much one of the newest sort of pro team players that we have in the region. Vivid's been around for a little while, actually. But he's still yet to get that big result. But I tell you what, in the last couple of months, he's actually gotten quite good. And I've heard some very complimentary things from some of the people that he faces on ladder, being like, hey, this guy is actually a lot better than I remember. So expecting good things from him. Last week we did see him come out as well in a ZVZ. Did okay, but against a veteran like Crimson, it was a little tricky for him to pull out the win there. So I think he has probably... yeah, a good chance against Luneth. But I also haven't seen anything from Luneth. I don't know if you've got much intel on his playstyle.
I have to say, I don't have much of an insight. I don't know what style he really favors, and it's a bit of an unknown for me. So let's go in and maybe clear that up. Let's introduce him up here in the top left-hand corner of Battle on the Boardwalk the very first time. This map is gracing our screens in the ANZ Pro League. Playing for Team Downfall Gaming is Luneth.
And his opponent in the top right are the Red Trunks from OSC Elite. This is Vivid.
All right, so looking at the probe walking across the map, very quick probe scout, but I guess that just goes to show how unfamiliar this map would be, probably for both players. And if we talk about this map, if you guys haven't had a chance to play on this map before, it's pretty wild. And so the players have a pretty open expansion. I haven't seen an expansion this open since probably Zelnaga Caverns back in 2011.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
Yeah, that's actually a good comparison because these, especially in ZVZ sort of maps, were these hyper aggressive sort of things. And I suppose you could see a similar thing pop out even in Zerg VX matches here, because there's a lot of room to sort of just stab in with a random number of lings, 16 lings or so. And because it's so hard to cover that surface area, you might be able to get some stuff done, especially as people are still trying to feel out the maps a little bit more. But that said, Luneth has actually gone for something a little bit interesting here in the first game, going straight for the gold base down in the bottom left.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. I mean, just going straight for the gold base around the bottom left-hand corner of the map. No worries at all. First time I've really seen this guy on stage, and I'm already a fan. I love watching stuff like this because if it pays off, it makes your opponent look really silly. And if it doesn't pay off, it makes you look really silly. So it's not just a gamble in the game, it's also a gamble in image. But doing stuff like this, if you're in a best of 3 and you can pull this off, your opponent's always bloody well checking all of those like bases on the map next game, and probably every time that they play you in the future too.
Exactly. And Luneth even takes a little peek down at the bottom right goal just to make sure he's not facing the similar sort of thing with that third base coming down from Vivid, who could very well have decided to take a base down there. There are a couple of links headed down there towards that probe, but at the moment he still hasn't scouted the fact that the nexus here from Luneth is actually down at the bottom left. Now, given what he's seen so far, or the lack of what he's seen, he may be able to figure, well, you know what, I guess he probably went ahead and took that goal, but He can certainly confirm that with a proper scout in just a little bit.
And Vivid is going for Overlord speed, so that will really unlock the map for him. That Overlord down at the bottom left will be able to peek in if he starts to get that sneaking suspicion that that's what's happening. The probe coming back in, trying to get a scout, but won't really find too much. One cool thing is that he can click on the extractor here, and he'll notice that there really hasn't been all that much gas mined just yet from Vivid. Just the one. Some Zerglings now popping out of the map. We'll have to see if he does go and scout the bottom left. He's actually going for an Overlord drop, so maybe he just intuitively knows that it's already there.
Yeah, well, when you don't see a Nexus and you haven't seen a lot of gateway action in the main, which he now confirms, only just seeing those 3 extra gateways come up next to that Twilight Council. Oh boy. Yeah, so it seems like he has a hunch of what's going on here, and he's going to definitely scout it now.
Yeah, he sees it. The Zerglings are now on the low ground, so they've been dropped down at the Overlord. And behind it, Vivid's even going for a third base of his own at the gold in the bottom right-hand corner, so he'll be able to equalize that economy very quickly. Can Luneth hold on? He's going to need a decent warp in. He's already made that shield battery, which is finishing up just in time. Shield batteries are pretty good, but it's not quite in range of all of the probes.
Yeah, he will get one, but it might just delay enough for these zealots to come in and bat those lings away.
That's scary.
Yeah, very nicely done.
Yeah, probes and a shield battery are actually better than Zerglings. Who would have thought it?
That's it. They definitely can out-heal that DPS. And, well, Vivid takes a small trip up the north to have a look again at what Luneth has. Not too many developments in there, although he does see the Robo this time and the Immortal coming out. But he himself hasn't been under any pressure from Luneth, so he's happily got his own gold expansion mining behind this.
Man, this map is absolutely crazy. And I mean, if you look through the middle of the map here, there's this really close path, which means that your units by ground don't really have to go for very long to go from natural to natural or main to main. Some really crazy architecture. I feel like this is going to be the perfect map to throw out, you know, map number 2 or 3 in a Pro League, because it is going to spawn some really funky games.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's sort of one of those maps where you kind of... You'd hesitate to play normally on it, right? Because it just...
You'd hesitate to play on it.
Exactly,
let alone play normally.
And that's why these guys don't get to choose. We do. So yeah, it keeps it interesting, keeps it fresh, keeps it clean. And it's sort of settled down a little bit at the moment. Both players mining at the gold, Luneth grabbing his natural expansion now. Looks like Vivid's still got half a mind to do these drops with the Overlords. He's got a couple of roaches and lings loaded up, and there's already some defenses here for Vivid to deflect the sneaky Dark Templars that were scouted just earlier.
Yeah, great little defense so far. A few more Dark Templars will be warped in, and when you get to that critical mass, like 4 or 5 Dark Templars, then the units that Vivid actually has down here in the bottom right won't be enough, because Luneth could just go and snipe that Spore Crawler. But it looks like he's actually choosing to morph them into Archons instead. And a Warp Prism with a couple of Archons and good micro is really scary.
And we have a Roach drop going off in the main base of Luneth at the same time. A bit of a distraction here. The Immortal's going to try and sort that out. At the same time, poking at the natural while the Archons do go in down at the bottom right to the gold base. So a bunch of little skirmishes happening at the moment. Looks like the main will get cleaned up, but Lings also in the gold base of
Zeph, it's happening all over the map in 4 places at once.
No
oh my god, my brain is melting. The shield battery is so low on energy as well. It looks like Luneth has actually managed to defend in the main. The natural, it looks like he's going to be able to clean up there as well. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, the Archon, he does manage to save 1, but it looks like the roaches there will be enough to deflect the Archon for the time being. And Vivid did a reasonable amount of damage, but Luneth, he's actually up 10 workers, and he's got that gold base. He's had it for a little while longer. I suppose Vivid, the advantage that he has is that he's got this 4th base on the right-hand side, and his gold base is going to be up for longer because Luneth has been mining his for, you know, a couple of extra minutes. So it's not all out, but that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, sort of a lot of things going on, and through all the confusion, Luneth has come out ahead with that worker count. He's just added 3 more gates as well. And he's starting to get a decent count of immortals up. He already has 5 on the field, so a big push with that could be quite deadly considering that Vivid has a few roaches out at the moment. He actually doesn't have too much to his army, and there's a few links to support. And with some proper warp-ins, it can be very tricky to deflect an army that's got a bit of juicier tech on Luneth's side here. And he's
is it going to happen again? Vivid's got a sneaky run by of a few roaches down here in the bottom left-hand corner, making Luneth look elsewhere. Meanwhile, the drop's going to be coming up into the main, and at the same time, he's just darting in, making sure that Luneth has to keep these critical units at his natural. Meanwhile, Luneth is going for a run by of his own, so to speak. He had that Warp Prism there, morphed in some more units. He's got the Archons, and he might be able to shut down mining at that base completely. The Dark Templars will clean up the roaches in the main. And I think the story is about this gold base getting shut down. Luneth is in a solid lead.
He definitely is. He's gaining ground bit by bit. Both players haven't actually been managing to kill too many workers on either side, but Vivid is actually not able to make as many workers as he wants. And on top of that, he's losing that gold base. The Immortals now marching across the middle of the map here, coming for a big push. And Vivid is not prepared. He actually doesn't have that many units here. Might actually get caught out. 3 roaches donated to the Luneth Fund right there.
Oh no. Luneth just suddenly out of nowhere has a 50 supply advantage. And his units are just going to be more cost effective as well. Vivid would need to be up in supply to even think about taking an engagement like this. I feel like Luneth might not even lose a single immortal here, Zeph.
No, it's looking pretty dire. DTs and Archons and Zealots in the main.
Just from all sides. My brain is hurting just thinking about playing on this map. And Luneth has put on, honestly, a really good show. As I say that, a single immortal does die. Rest in pieces. Vivid down to 40 supply. I think he's just scratching his head and preparing himself for the GG.
Yeah, I mean, there we go. GG Luneth. Grabbing a win there for Downfall. An impressive game from him there. Very cool, very scrappy at times, that game with 4-way engagements.
That was wild.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
I am.
Luneth has a lot of potential. Like, you see a lot of players that are up and coming. And you're always kind of thinking that, all right, cool, so they've got their macro down, right? And if they could just be multitasking their units a little better, or if they could just be a little bit better in picking strategies and whatever, that's where they're really going to shine. But Luneth just came out there, had a great build, great execution. His macro was absolutely fine. But what was striking to me was that Vivid was trying to pull him 4 ways at once. And not only was Luneth defending 3 bases, he was also finding the headspace to go and attack at the same time. And that's not easy because a lot of players at that point would have just been like F2A moving. And that means just like getting all of your units together and like moving them at the same time. So that was really impressive. We tie up the series 1 apiece and we've got a match on our hands.
We certainly do. That was a fantastic game from Luneth. Very happy to have seen that one. And hopefully we see more from him in the coming weeks. Possibly even into tomorrow's matches when we cast the one from last week against 1F Pro that we missed. So I'm very keen to see what Luneth has to offer throughout the rest of this team. I'm going to be keeping an eye on him for sure. So it is 1-1 now for these teams. And we will be heading into Catalyst for map number 3. And this is the one that Death flagged earlier as being a bit of a decider. Blisk versus Aegis. So that's going to be an interesting match coming right up, guys. Once again, we'll take a couple of minutes break, get that lobby set up, and be back with you very shortly. Don't go away.